We at Welspun look at sustainability in a very sustainable way. All our efforts are such that we make sure they generate for themselves and they are there for a long time. Directions that we look into for sustainability are environment and health, education, and empowerment. If you look at India as a society, we've been not very good at empowering women, and historically it's been an issue. So that's one of the core aspects of our sustainability, because empowering women would essentially mean empowering a family, empowering a kid, and empowering a community. All of it is being done in a sustainable way. A couple of our factories are in an area where water is a scarce resource, and we want to make sure we are not taking anything away from the community, but we are actually giving it back to the community. Education again is a need of the hour in India, and we focus on education as well. Apart from it, we are also looking at non-renewable energy. We are also looking at zero waste and zero discharge facilities. Essentially, we run a circular water economy in all our facilities. So that's how we look at sustainability. That's how we look at circular economy in Welspun. It's not only about manufacturing, but it's about making sure communities around are thriving. I'll take few examples of what we've done in Anjar and what we are planning to do here in Hyderabad. As we started with education, we went about in a way to take care of the kids by opening good quality schools that provide good quality education. Soon we realized it's a slow process. Taking care of kid at a time becomes the pace is not exciting. So our managing director Dipali Goenka actually came about with a plan to take care of the teachers, and in turn every teacher takes care of about 20 to 30 kids. That's how we've gone about it, and we not only look at our schools, but we have partnered with Balwadis all around Gujarat to take care of the teachers, work with them on the latest methods of teaching, latest methods of techniques, and also help them engage with the communities around to bring in a girl child in the school and work with the community. So that's how we look at education. It's not only about taking care of the kids, but also taking care of the teachers, taking care of the system itself. We also look at how we can empower women around communities around our factories. We started with looking at CSR centers, stitching centers, where women can come in and actually earn their livelihood by taking the waste and converting them into beautiful textile pieces, quilts and bed sheets. But soon we realized it is difficult for women to leave their homes and come around at a factory site and go about it. So essentially what we did is, instead of asking them to come over to our site, we opened these centers in the center of villages, where women can actually come in at the time that they feel comfortable, at their own convenience. They can come in, they can go about it, they get the help from our designers, they get the help from our stylists, and we actually convert these waste rags that are generated in factories into beautiful textile pieces. Now this entire collection, we market it as spun, and it's sold in UK, US and India. In fact, was showcased in New York Gift Show as well. So essentially trying to make it sustainable. Few of the centers have actually started buying waste rather than we donating them. So the entire system is becoming sustainable in a way. They are earning their livelihood, not just because Welspun is helping, but it's all about their efforts and making sure all the soft knowledge in terms of design, all the styling is provided by Welspun, which we already have in that area. It's just that making sure these efforts are made sustainable. These efforts can sustain themselves for longer time, and we are already providing empowerment to about 8,000 women in and around our factories. That's how we are going about it. Even in Hyderabad, we will be initiating similar effort in partnership with another NGO, wherein we will be employing about 150 women in this same effort and same initiatives. On the environment side, water is an important resource and is a scarce resource. We in fact partnered with government and have developed a state-of-art sewage treatment plant, wherein we collect sewage from 30 districts around the manufacturing unit, convert it into fresh water. That same fresh water is used for our landscaping and other activities in the factory, and the sludge that gets generated, it's actually is most sought after fertilizer by the farmers in and around. So essentially, again, it's the point I'm trying to make. Everything is sustainable, everything generates for itself, and that's how we make sure efforts continue for a long time. We at Welspun are looking at each and everything we do as far as sustainability is concerned. Sustainability should not be looked at as a giving. It should be looked upon as something that can also make business sense. How can we look at business to bring about a social change? In fact, if you look at natural resources, we are already looking at a bleak future as close as 2030, 2040. People are talking about resources like water and clean air will be scarce. Companies like Welspun would need to go about it and make sure systems that we use are circular systems. They generate for themselves, are sustainable enough. And as an industry, we are not taking a toll in environment, but we are actually giving to the environment. That's how we are looking at sustainability. That's how we are looking at natural resources. There have been a lot of discussion whether a natural resource is a public property or a private property or a government property. Well, I believe all three of us have a part to play in. It is definitely a public property, but has to be owned by the government and has to be managed by the private businesses. And that's the best sustainable formula I can look at in terms of managing natural resources and make sure the inevitable that we are looking at in 2030, 2040 it never comes. Natural resources are important for public as for the life that we know as of today. They're extremely important for future generations. Government has to own them up, and private businesses are actually best to manage them and make sure they make it sustainable and generate for themselves, for them to be able to last longer and provide for generations to come. At Welspun Flooring, we are looking at sustainability in a different way. Of course, we are looking at sustainability within our premises, but we are also looking at how we can take it beyond our premises. The world has been talking about recycling. I believe we can look at recycling a little later in a product life cycle. Before that, we ought to look at repurpose. Again, being an Indian, it's a page that we draw from an Indian culture wherein repurpose is a big part of life itself. And if you look at how we look at products, how we look at clothing, for example, a shirt that is worn by the father is then worn by the younger brother, is then worn by the son, before it getting converted into a rag for cleaning and washing, and then finally it goes out of that intended life use, and it either goes into recycling or goes into waste. So we are looking at our products as to how we can repurpose them and extend their lifetime and make it multiply. Instead of one lifetime, how can we make them stay in use for multiple lifetimes? How we can make sure people can actually take the flooring with them when they move from one place to another place. How we believe repurpose and then recycle will have a much less impact on environment compared to just going into recycling direct. So that's something that we are looking at very closely. Apart from that, we'll be also one of the first USGBC certified manufacturing building in the country. We are going in for full transparency in terms of materials that are used and processes that are used in the factory with declared certification. We are going for various certifications on the indoor quality as well as on the product life cycle itself, and recyclability of the products and recycled content in the product. I do believe Institute of Circular Economy can play a role here. When we look at sustainability from various industries, from various companies, we look at various certifications. We look at companies going about certifications, and I would say these are honest efforts. Getting a certification really takes a culture change with the company. A lot of resources are in place. Apart from money, is time and effort that goes into these certifications. I do believe there's a lack of one platform which can convert efforts that are subjective efforts that are made into these certifications into one common objective. Institute of Circular Economy and SDGs can actually help us develop one standard and let companies then benchmark against standards, go about it in a way that actually creates a multiplier effect on the environment and reduces total footprint of the industry on this earth. To sum it up, at Welspun, I would say the way we look at sustainability, the way we look at taking the community along, we always try and, as I mentioned before, we always try and make it sustainable. And that's where we look at how a business can bring in about a social change, how a business can bring in, not only bring in, but accelerate a social change. And that's what we strive at Welspun, and we will keep doing it.